Welcome back, Truth Seeker. September 18th, 2019. Today, the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, turns 72 years old. And I want you to see what's so interesting about what happened today. The CIA was signed into law by the 33rd President, Harry S. Truman, who later regretted signing the National Security Act, which created the CIA. But on this day, 72 years later, we got a new national security advisor. And he does the middle initial thing like Harry S. Truman. His name is Robert C. O'Brien, which sums to 72. On the 72-year anniversary of the National Security Act, we get this man as the national security advisor. Think about it. Again, like I said years ago and have proven thousands of times since, everything done by the federal government is ritualistic and done by this Kabbalistic code of Gematria, which comes from Kabbalah, which is what the elites who truly control our government is the code that they operate by. Robert C. O'Brien, 72, President Trump, 72. In Kabbalah, this number is associated with the names of God. And come back to that point here in a minute. Just want you to remember CIA equals 68, like Donald John Trump, like The Apprentice, like how in 1968 World Trade Center construction began, 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, Bush got out of Yale, Skull and Bones, whose father was the head of the CIA, 2001 A Space Odyssey came out, and yada, 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 everything else. 68, the year the plan went into motion for 9/11. An event that was meant to mind control the populace and lead this nation further down the agenda of building the one world police state, with the U.S. being the military muscle behind it. And anyhow, there's a lot of things that are interesting here. Lots of interesting things. I'll come back to some of these points. But I want you to see this about Truman. Truman, his birthday was May 8th. Can be written 5/8 like 58. For that list, Freemasonry, Rosicrucian, Secret Society, Washington, United States, they all sum to 58. Very special number. The English language synced up with the Gregorian calendar. Gregorian's 58. Calendar's 58. Zodiac's 58. And the list goes on. Very special number. Everything that's done in this world is done by this code of letters and numbers and synced up with the calendar, which both of them, English and the Gregorian calendar, came into existence in this world at the same time. And when I say English, I mean it being standardized as the 26-letter alphabet as we know it, with the spellings for words as we know them. That was happening at the same moment in history the Gregorian calendar was being spread across the world. But anyway, his birthday, 5/8 or 8/5. Come back to that point. Just remember, he was the 33rd president, and from his birthday, May 8th, to the day that he signed the National Security Act into being, September 18th, that was 133 days later for the 33rd president. Government's 33, president's 133, White House is 133. Back when this headline was new in September of 2015, I made a video and I said, are they communicating that they're putting Trump in the White House? And the next thing you knew, Fox News ran this story. Donald Trump makes his 133rd appearance. It was like, it's starting to look like they might be putting The Apprentice in the White House. And let's not forget that Trump was the winner of the 58th U.S. presidential election. But anyway, just look at how nicely it's all synced up. This major government event, the National Security Act, 133 days from the birthday of the sitting president who signed it into being, who later regretted this action. Let's not forget that federal masonry secrecy order all summed to 33. JFK was killed November 22nd, 63, 11 plus 22, 33 in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason. 1 month later, Truman wrote his op-ed in the paper saying that the CIA needed to be, gutted, have all its powers taken away, and just be an information gathering agency. Why do you think he said that? I think he was shedding light on the fact that the CIA was up to no good. Pretty sure that's what he was trying to communicate. Possibly some honest regrets. The name Harry S. Truman, notice it's 59, Freemasonry's 59 in Hebrew and English. It's 148 like fraternal. It's 76 like secret society. Harry Truman without the S is 157 like United States, 58 also like Freemasonry. Freemasonry's 58 and 59. Alphabetic order forwards and reverse. 140 like Washington, 68 like CIA. His initials HST, 47 like president, like White House, like government, like authority, like DC, like Trump, like how 1947 was the year the National Security Act was signed on this day, September 18th. September 18th leaves 104 days left in the year. Notice the values of British. Think United Kingdom. Think about how the U.S. never really got free. 7/4/1776, a date 7 plus 4 plus 17 plus 76 that sums to 104. British, 40 like United States, 50 like America, 85 like the reflection of 58, like Truman's birthday. You know, modern Freemasonry comes out of the UK, June 24th, 1717. Freemasonry, 59 in Hebrew and English, 59 the 17th prime, Mason 17. Just realize the coding, the encoding, not accidental. So again, we started with the 72-year anniversary. We talked about the CIA in 68. Notice the date of the National Security Act, September 18th, 47, a date with 74 numerology, Masonic 74, Holiday 74, Independence Day 74, 7/4 or 4/7. There's a date with 93 numerology as well, propaganda equals 93. And understand that is the weapon of governments, propaganda. All governments use propaganda to control their people. Central Intelligence, 188 like Bavarian Illuminati, 89 the 11th Fibonacci number, 325 like Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 109 like military. And realize the CIA, again, came out of this National Security Act, which was having much to do with military. The National Security Act of 1947 was a major restructuring of the United States government's military and intelligence agencies following World War II. The majority of the provisions of the Act took effect on September 18, 1947, the day after the Senate confirmed James Forrestal as the first Secretary of Defense. We're going to have to go back and look at him in real time. The Act merged the Department of War, renamed as the Department of the Army, and the Department of the Navy into the National Military Establishment, headed by the Secretary of Defense. Don't forget, Secretary of Defense equals 193, which is the 44th prime, and military equals 44. Big ritual with 193 and 44 when Mad Dog, which equals 44, and Mattis, which equals 44, resigned. It was 193 days from Trump's birthday. It also created the Department of the Air Force and the United States Air Force, which separated the Army Air Forces into its own service. It also protected the Marine Corps as an independent service under the Department of the Navy. Aside from the military organization, the Act established the National Security Council and the Central Intelligence Agency, the U.S. first peacetime non-military intelligence agency. Plans for world domination were well established. The CIA, very much a part of it, the post-World War II agenda. It's been here mind controlling the populace ever since. And anyway, maybe too many numbers overkill. Let's just for fun in real time, let's look into James Forrestal. Let's see this guy, the first Secretary of Defense. I've actually never looked into him before, but I doubt we'll be disappointed. So, James Forrestal, he ended up dying May 22nd, the 142nd day of the year. That seems perfect to me because terrorist equals 142, and that's what government is. That's what terrorism is, actually. Government by intimidation. And here in the U.S., it might as well be synonymous. We might as well not even refer to it as a government. It's a terrorist organization. That's what the U.S. federal government is. It is a terrorist organization by every definition of the word. So he was born February 15th, the 32nd day of the year. He died on the 142nd. So what's that mean? That means he ended up dying on his 117th day of his age. Oh my. Let's just verify that I'm not talking nonsense here. And I see he died shortly after taking that position. So maybe he got his hands on some information that he wasn't supposed to. Let's see. Died in 1949. Wait, I'm screwing something up here. No, he died on May 22nd. That's what I did wrong. Oh no, my math is bad. My math is bad. It's late. Okay, he died 96 days after his birthday, which is interesting. Freemason's 96. And if I'm not mistaken, today is 96 days after Trump's birthday. Trump's birthday is June 14th, which is the flag's birthday. Let's see. Yeah, today's 96 days after Trump's birthday. So Freemason's 96. That's who runs it. So that makes sense. So this man died 96 days after his birthday, or his 97th day of his age, which is another interesting number. Notice it's also 3 months and 8 days, like 38. Death with the alphabetic order is 38. With the reverse alphabetic order is 97. 38, 97. And 27, the day he died, had 76 numerology. Let's see, 10, 14, 23. 32 as well. Let's check his name out. Let's see. His name does have some standout numbers. I'm just trying to think about how they would go with the CIA or the National Security Act. All right. Anyway, he was 56 years old when he died. Washington, D.C., 56. All right. Yeah, I'll have to think about it more. It's late. I've been going all day. But I see this symbolism in dying 96 days after the birthday or his 97th day of his age. Oh, yeah. And also, there was this sick headline today. Abortions reach lowest rate since 1973. That was 46 years ago. Sacrifice 73 and 46. And they do this on the, the NSA day, the mind control day. And realize, when it comes to abortion, it's not something that anybody wants to do. Some people end up having abortions because they're careless. Some people end up having abortions because, they were raped. But the reality is, if we lived in a better world, nobody would need an abortion. If we had community, if we cared for each other, people wouldn't feel the burden of bringing a child into the world and thinking maybe that's not the right thing to do. Maybe I can't support this child. Maybe I can't afford this child. Those are only thoughts we have because of the controllers of this world and how messed up they've made it. Has a lot to do with the terrorist organization that is the U.S. federal government and the CIA. And by the way, today this news, a date with 39 numerology. Roe v. Wade is 39. Federal's 39, Masonry's 39. Roe vs. Wade happened January 22nd, the day it was decided, 122. And don't forget, abortion. No, I got it here. Maybe I didn't link it here, but abortion does sum to 122. 122. And I'm not saying if you've gotten an abortion, you're a satanic person. I mean, I understand people have gotten abortions for all sorts of reasons, but the people who make this society so sick, they are satanic. Satanic's 122. You know, you got shills in the truth community with names that sum to 122 that admit they were former members of the Satanic Church. Now make a living on half-truthing. But Freemason 96, Satanism 96. Look at all the Masons who've gotten out of it because they figured out up at the top it's all satanic. It's all evil. And again, this is what evil looks like. Wars by the numbers, false flags by the numbers, reporting like this. You know, most people don't get the sick joke here in this headline. But they know they've created this world where, you know, people have to go to these lengths. Today's news also comes 239 days after the anniversary of Roe v. Wade. That's the 52nd prime, government's 52, authorities 52, the cabal's 52, Kabbalah's 52. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I'm getting long in the tooth. Till next time, Truth Seeker.